never gonna leave. I don't believe there's a better place. Gotta show my face again. Never gonna leave. I'm never gonna leave.
Hello everyone, so today is Saturday the 22nd of May 2021 and today I'm stood outside the Manchester Arena. The reason I'm outside here today is because I want to keep this fresh in people's memories. Behind me, 4 years ago, 22 innocent people, mainly children, young girls, lost their lives because of the actions of an Islamic terrorist. That Islamic terrorist whose family were brought to this country and welcomed with open arms, and this is how they repay us. For as long as mass migration exists in this country, then attacks like the Manchester Arena will continue to happen. Enough is enough. What are the authorities going to do about this? Andy Burnham told us to don't look back in anger. Don't look back in anger when we've got the blood of innocent children stained on those walls, and they tell us don't look back in anger. People, you need to remember all of these attacks because they are becoming more and more frequent. It's our people that's under attack. We're the ones that are told we're not allowed to exist, yet at the same time our opposition are calling for the Palestinian people to be liberated. Enough is enough. This is the United Kingdom. We don't bow down to Islamic terrorism. We don't bow down to any forms of extremism. This is our country and we have to take it back. I don't want to come to places like this and report on stories like this because it shouldn't be happening. All of these problems are a direct result of the political class. Stop voting for them. Every time these people come on your television screens, think back to the Manchester Arena, think back to Lee Rigby, London Bridge, think back to Josh, Harry and George, because all of these people have lost their lives because of the political class. Remember the 22 victims of the Manchester Arena. Respect them. Honour them. Stop. Right, ready? Right, hello everybody. So we're outside of Victoria Station now. In the previous video you saw that we were outside the Manchester Arena, which is literally a couple of minute walk up the road. Now 2.5 years ago, December 2018, on New Year's Eve, Mehdi Mahmoud, or Mohammed, however you say it, not really fussed because he's a scumbag, he don't deserve it. Anyway, this scumbag that was imported by the political class has made his way inside of Victoria Station and attacked 3 innocent people, a woman in her 50s, a British transport police officer and somebody else. Now, eyewitnesses to the attack heard the terrorist scream Allah Akbar, okay? So this is what the terrorist is saying as he's killing people, right? So, unfortunately, in this country, we have people that are coming in and destroying it. They are attacking innocent people. And again, it all boils down to demographics. If these people weren't imported into this country, then people wouldn't be getting murdered. They wouldn't be getting raped. Stop importing third world savages into this country. Too many innocent people have already died. Enough's enough. Stop the madness.
That's a better one, yeah. That's
Morning everyone. So we've been out busy filming today, and what I wanted to do, I wanted to show the people of the United Kingdom what's going on in Manchester. So what's this road? Cheetham Hill Road? Yeah. But it's not called Cheetham Hill Road anymore, it's called Diversity Street. So this is the start of Cheetham Hill Road, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you all of the attacks that have taken place against our people from foreign invaders. Now just look at that. This Salam War Chambers. You know, people say, oh, you know, people are just trying to make it, they just want to come here for a better life. No, it's not. It's a scam. It's a scam to make solicitors like this money. All of these people, all they are doing is sucking every bit of resource, energy and money out of this land. And yet there's nothing for the British people. Why are the British people being treated like second-class citizens, and we've got places like this popping up all over the place? Trust me, as the further up the road we go, it's going to get a lot worse. But you need to see this, because if people don't see it, people aren't going to realise it's going on. We have to keep making this message, well, you have to keep sending the message out to people that unfortunately attacks are taking place almost daily, and these people are just trying to rip off the system. They're trying to get as many people in as possible because they want to make money off it. I was in the hospital the other week. There's a refugee in one of the beds and they're offering the refugee everything. So why is it that the people that have contributed their whole lives, paid into the system, were born here, are ethnically British, why are they treated like second-class citizens, and the waifs and strays of the world are offered everything on a plate? It's outrageous. We're second-class citizens in our own country. Stand up. And just obviously, as you can just see in the background, is the Manchester Arena. 22 innocent people lost their lives in the Manchester Arena attack, and we were told, don't look back in anger. Don't look back in anger. The victims still haven't been paid out. 22 people died and their families are suffering. Andy Burnham, I'm talking to you directly. Pay out the victims and stop importing violent barbarians into Greater Manchester. We don't want it.
Yes.
We're on Goldsworthy Avenue, and the reason I'm bringing you here today is because, again, there was another lovely import that actually tried blowing up the Manchester Arena. Sorry, the Manchester Arndale. And this is where we lived. So that's the door that they kicked off. And further down the road is Cheetham Mill Road. So obviously, as you can see, this area is very ethnically diverse, and it's probably best that we make a sharp tale out of here after this video. But like I said, we have to show you these places. Look, it's a disgrace. Sweet.
Wicked. Now.
Right, everybody, so as this video is called Diversity Street, I'm going to take you on to the next part of Diversity Street. If you just flip the camera around, you can see the true effects of diversity. So, there's a building just behind me. It's one of these two places. It actually used to be I think it was an Afro-Caribbean shop, and there was also a cybernet internet cafe. So anyway, these lovely Mohammedans were plotting to blow up the Arndale from a cybernet cafe just in there. And like I said, if you want to come around this way, this road stretches from, it goes all the way up over there into like Middleton, and if you go all the way down, there's an old church there, St Luke's Church. I think you can just see it at the top of the spiral. It was built over 200 years ago. It's got a special place in my heart because I actually did community service there. And unfortunately, it's an abandoned church that won't ever be that won't ever see the light of day again, because when we spoke to the people that were in charge of the church, they told us that they can't rebuild the church because there's no congregation for them here. There wouldn't be enough Christians. So, and one look around, you know, you can see why, can't you? But the point is this, look, the whole point of Diversity Street is to show you all of the attacks that have taken place against our people. The reason why I'm showing you this is because so that we can try and prevent this in the future. Just look at all the different shops along here. Tell me one English shop, because I can't see a British and English shop. What have we got? Almiala's, Alizadir. What happened to all the English shops? Well, do you know what happened? Demographics, mass migration. 20 years ago, 25, 20 years ago, this place wasn't like this. We've got somebody coming over now, so this should get fun. So yeah, what we have to remember is this is our land, and unfortunately places like this will continue to deteriorate and continue to get worse if we continue to vote in the same politicians. Honestly, take a look around, look the camera around this place and tell me, do you feel like you're in the United Kingdom? Do you feel like you're in Great Britain? I don't feel like I'm in Great Britain. I feel like I'm in the third world. I don't want to live in a third world. I want to live in the first world. My ancestors fought for this country to make it great. And what, we're just going to give it away to a load of people that don't deserve it? Fucking, that were a bit close, wasn't it? Right, we'll shoot off. Fucking. Right, ladies and gentlemen, we are on Park Hill Avenue, and what happened on Park Hill Avenue is very depressing. It's quite sad, so just bear with me. So, we've obviously, everybody knows about mass migration, and here's another problem. A 63-year-old Patrick McGee was beheaded by a Filipino immigrant, a Filipino Muslim immigrant called Eric Cruz. Now, this 32-year-old man beheaded Patrick and put his head in a wheelie bin. These are the type of people that are being imported into our country. Now, did the guy end up serving a life sentence? No, he didn't, because do you know what happened? he admitted manslaughter on the grounds of diminished responsibility, because this is what they do, don't they? Every time one of theirs attacks one of ours, it's, oh, he's got mental health problems, or it's always mental health problems. It's not mental health problems, it's called inbreeding, it's called low IQ, and it's called, quite frankly, these people shouldn't be in this country. Now, I'm just reading through this report as well on the court, and apparently a neighbour had heard Cruz chanting voodoo, 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 and apparently he'd got it into his head that Patrick wanted to kill his 17-month-old son, which was obviously not the case. So again, I'm going to ask the question, why do the political class keep importing people that shouldn't be in this country? It's not even that, they shouldn't be amongst civilised society, because they have no place in civilised society. So let's get this straight, a British man is walking the streets and he's beheaded and has his head put in a wheelie bin. How many of you know about that? Bet hardly anyone does, because nobody talks about it, because it's covered up. Look at this street where I am now. I'm in one of the most ethnically diverse areas of North Manchester. You've got Africans stabbing each other, you've got people macheting each other. All of this is playing out on the streets of the UK, and it shouldn't be happening. People are talking about Israel, Palestine going on. Let's talk about all the Africans that are kicking off in this country. What the hell has happened? And how do any of these politicians look at themselves in the mirror and say that they're doing the right job? I've got to bring children up into this world, and I've got concerns, I'm sure everybody else has. I wouldn't let my partner or my child walk down a road like this. What, people are getting beheaded and having their heads put in wheelie bins? Don't look back in anger, Andy Burnham.
That's that one. Yeah, that's a... Live.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, the next stop on Diversity Street is at the spot where DC Stephen Oak was murdered. Now, 200 yards, if you just flip the camera that way, 200 yards is Cheetham Hill, and that was where the Cybernet CAF plot was to blow up the Arndale. 500 yards down that way is where Patrick McGee was beheaded by the Muslim immigrant from the Philippines that they put away in a specialist institute because they don't want to admit the problem. Now, I'm going to explain a bit what happened to DC Stephen Oak here. So, Mr. Oak, along with his colleagues, had come to this property as part of an immigration operation. Now, the person that they were looking for, they didn't expect to actually be there. But obviously the police have turned up to the property and they found Algerians, but the police found an immigrant called Kamel Bourgeois, who had arrived in England, wait for it, on the back of a lorry 3 years prior. He'd also attended Al Mujaroom meetings in the months leading up to the attack, was not immediately recognised despite being wanted in London. So there's failings from the police there, from the counter-terrorism unit, because they should be having the pictures of these scumbags there. Now, obviously they've gone to try and arrest him, and he's had his throat slit and he was nearly beheaded. Now, why I'm telling you this is because this happened 18 years ago. 18 years ago, and how many of us know DC Stephen Oak's name, other than people that have a vested interest in politics and current affairs? I didn't know until one of my activists took me around the area and showed me what's happened. And it's absolutely heartbreaking. Like, make no mistake about it, I absolutely despise the police. But under no circumstances do I support violence against anyone. And let's have this right. And I'll look you in the camera when I say this. He was murdered by somebody that came to this country illegally in the back of a lorry. What's happening now? People are coming to this country in the back of lorries. Are we going to see another Stephen Oak? I don't want to see another Stephen Oak.
Spot on, Jay. Live.
Right, so I told you there was an altercation that had spilled out. The Muslim men that were involved in the altercation with David then walked up the road. They got in a car. They drove back down the road and hit David deliberately, knocking him 100 feet into the air and killing him. Now, since then, has anybody been sentenced or convicted for his murder? No. I'm going to tell you what's happened. What's happened was the detective that was involved in this case has said that they were met with a wall of silence from the community. Now, we all know who that community is. I don't have to say it to you. You all know the answer. So here we have it. The police admitting that even they can't get answers out of that community. Stop. Look.
Now.
Right, so I'm just going back from an article from the Manchester Evening News, and they said that 2 men were arrested on suspicion of murder by detectives investigating the death. Here we go, let me just go through it. Sorry, love, hope you're well.
Big nice.
Right, start again. So I'll have to clip this.
I'll just keep it filming.
Both? Yeah, so. Right, ready? So David's parents, Anne and Don, have tirelessly campaigned for justice for their son, and detectives, so this article's from 5 years ago, it says detectives have now revealed that 2 men aged 30 and 34 were questioned. Both were arrested on suspicion of murder, but they were released on bail pending further inquiries. And this is an excerpt from Detective Chief Inspector Jamie Daniels, who said, "Justice has been slow for Anne and the family, but I'm pleased to say that even after 10 years, we are still making progress in this case and will never give up. Further arrests haven't been ruled out." Now, the problem with that is there still hasn't been justice. Now, there was actually an individual that has spent 2 years in prison, and that man's name, bear with me, I do apologise, was Arfan Javid. Now, it says here that, sorry, I'll just stop, then I'll have to start again. Right now. So, as I said, the person that owned the car was somebody called Arfan Javad, and he was jailed for 2 years in 2007 after he admitted perverting the course of justice, but nobody else was charged. So, is that what a British life is worth, ladies and gentlemen? 2 years in prison? Because I'm starting to see a pattern emerging, and it's starting to disturb me, and the pattern that I'm starting to see is that my people are being attacked. They're being attacked and we're not getting justice. How is 2 years in prison for taking somebody's life justice? It's an absolute disgrace, and people don't know about this. People are forgetting about this. I didn't even know about this until I was informed by one of my activists. And this is the message that I want to give to people all over the country. Manchester is a rough place. It's dodgy. You get stabbed, you can get shot. But we're here. We're in the most ethnically diverse places, and we're telling you, the British people, that we want you with us. If we can go out and walk these dangerous streets and report the news, then we need you with us. The time for sitting at home and talking on anonymous accounts over. It's time to man up. It's time to put your shoes on. It's time to get out on the streets and do something. Because if you don't do something, your daughter could be next.
Live now.
Right, James, I'd like to ask you what your feelings are on starting a government petition for a moratorium, a 10-year moratorium to stop all immigration while we sort out the mess that we're in now, i.e. the housing, the schools, the NHS. Could it be something that people would get behind? You know, we could start MPs and stuff. It's some sort of pressure we could put on them if people got behind it, because we know they're not going to stop immigration, but a moratorium makes sense where we could stop it for 10 years and sort all the problems out. What would you think about that?
I think it would be a good idea, and it actually might get a lot of normal people on board, because when I speak to normal people about immigration and you say to people, look, we need to stop immigration. No, you can't, you're racist. So, okay, so what we're doing is we're saying, look, we're not going to stop it, but we want to break for 10 years so we can sort out the mess that's been made. And I'm
like
sure
George Floyd would say, the country can't breathe.
We can't breathe. The people of the United Kingdom can't breathe. And the problem as well with this immigration, and why this is a good idea, is because not only is immigration affecting people, but it's affecting wildlife, it's affecting the green belt. We don't want loads of horrible new houses built on the green belt when that should be for nature. Why? Basically, look, we're an island with finite resources. We can't have everybody here.
So a 10-year break would give everyone, right? It means the country, we're not out to its throats. It could calm things down in loads of different ways. I think it's something that we could all get behind, to take a 10-year break. Then after 10 years, let's look back and see if we want to have mass immigration again. I would find that a lot of people would say no. We could have like the Brexit. We could have what do you call it on it? You know, a vote on it, a referendum on it. Yeah. So, you know, that's what I think.
I think it's a good idea what you said about the petitions as well, because like you said, it gives you a valid reason to approach people and say, look, I'm here petitioning. This is what we want. This is what needs to happen. So, I think we're going to have to start with the petitions.
And then, what's your opinion on the? Well, we spoke about George Floyd, haven't you?
Yeah.
We spoke about immigration. We spoke about all these things. So, just give us your final thoughts on it.
So my final thoughts on everything from Texas. It's been a day. So, what I've learned, well, what I have learned is that people seem to have very short memories. It's only because of people like my two activists here, my most two trusted people, that I found out what's gone on in my new adopted city. Like I've been reading the news and thinking this is really bad, and speaking to people, and they're like, this is normal, this is Manchester. And then I've gone down today and I've seen what happened at Victoria Station. I've seen what happened at the Manchester Arena, and I've seen couples going around leaving like bits of keepsakes around to keep the memory alive, and it fills me with emotion really, because our people have died, they've been murdered. There's not thousands of people out on the street keeping their memories alive because they're in fear, because they've believed the rubbish that the government have told them about a disease that isn't as deadly as it is. So I guess all I'm trying to say in all of this is, us, British men and women, have to keep the memory of Lee Rigby alive. We have to keep the memory of the Manchester Arena alive. And most importantly, we're doing this for our ancestors, because it's our granddads, our great-granddads, our nans. These are the people that made this country great for us.
We don't own this time. We're just guardians of it. Nobody owns it. And people at the moment, they think the country belongs to them to do what they want with. It doesn't. We're just guardians, and we're just guarding what went behind for what's going to come in the future. And if we don't do anything, then shame on us.
It's our job. We are the living, what's the word? Embodiment of our ancestors. Yeah. It is because of them that we're here.
And we have the life that we could lead, and all the services that we've got because of them. And it's our duty to protect that for future generations. Yeah. They'll hate us.
Yeah, their history will look back on the men and women that stood by, and they will call you traitors, cowards, because history remembers the men and women that stood up. So it's time to stand up. It's time to stop with all this egos, all this, oh, he said, she said, I want to earn this. If you're in this for the right reasons, you'll do it for the right reasons. If you're in this for the wrong reasons, you're doing it for a pound note. I don't want to make money off of the demise of my people. I don't want to do this. I want to go back to my nice, quiet little family life. But I have to do this because what I know, I can't stay quiet. And I'm not willing to let my country go down the pan without standing up for it. And you're right what you said. It's not my country. We're just guardians of it. We've been entrusted to hand it down to the next generation. Take one look around every major city in the UK and say to yourselves, is this really what we want to hand down to our kids? I don't.
Well, thank you very much, James, and keep on going.
Thank you.